I'm Merryl Key, and this is my mystery school. Here's your Astro Dice forecast for February 2023. If you want more in-depth analysis, check out my new moon and full moon videos posted every 2 weeks. And thank you for the likes, follows, shares and subscribes. It really helps my channel. Turns out February 2023 is one of the quietest astro months in a long time. There's no retrograde planets, 0. And that means all the planetary energies are acting true to form. We have a full moon on the 6th of February in Leo and the new moon on the 20th in Pisces. Mercury's in Capricorn and it moves into Aquarius on the 12th. And lucky Aries, Venus moves into your sign on the 20th with that new moon. It's not till the end of the month that we start to get a bit of planetary action. And that's the moon joining up with Mars in Gemini and Jupiter, Venus and Chiron all coming together in Aries right at the end of the month and peaking on March the 2nd. Venus and Jupiter is a beautiful combination, but joined with Chiron, expect the results to go soul deep. Here's a closer look at all 12 signs. Aries. Early in the month, Aries, you've got a culmination coming up and so much new energy coming in for you because Jupiter's in your sign, joining up with Venus. Here's what the Astro Dice has to say. We've got Sun, 4th house in Leo. The 4th house refers to your home life. And with Leo there joining up, this is the full moon. So it's around that time in this first week of Feb that Aries, you really get to stand up and be who you are. The sun in the 4th house in Leo is taking command of what's going on at home, taking command of your inner world, taking command of your base and your foundation, and perhaps hosting events or bringing people in. It's a time you're really comfortable to shine and be confident. February is a time where you really gain mastery and a sense of pride over the way you found a base and the way you do nurturing in that space. This is good-natured and generous. It's got lots of humour and laughs, and it feels like storytelling. Leo adds a bit of drama or performance to it, a bit of glamour. Some of you might be upgrading your home or refurbishing. You might be looking at splurging on a quality product. Whatever it is, there's a sense of celebration. And that coincides really nicely with the Jupiter-Venus conjunction coming up for you. Sun in the 4th house can sometimes put you in a position of having to assert your authority and really believe in yourself. That's something that Leo energy is really good at doing. So I think, Aries, you're going to be crossing some initiation or threshold over February, finding your feet and your base, and feeling like you've come back home in some way. Taurus. Taurus, the full moon in that first week of February is going to be looking at your home and family. But by the second half of Feb, your interest is going to be much more out in the world. We've got the 10th house, Sagittarius, and the South Node. Taurus, this has you going out into the world and catching up with people you haven't seen for ages, maybe people from overseas or different from your normal group, or even a different language. February has you looking back into the past and what success you've achieved, what you let go, what regrets you might have, and where you want to head. You'll be doing a lot of clearing out on a psychological level, on a belief level, on a philosophy level. And a lot of this centers around your work or your career and how you get about in public. You might be looking at traveling and traveling to old places, places where you've had a former connection. February could also see you having communication and work connections come back to be repeated, or come back where you can literally see them from the other side. The South Node is potentially saying, look at what was going on 9.5 years ago. And there's something of that time that's coming to fruition now. This also puts you in the position of a teacher or a writer or a journalist, and even with Sag, a sports person. There's something in your career and direction that needs a rejig, and you're pulling back from one area or reaching a culmination and changing your course to a new one. The new moon falls in your house of social connections. So if you're working in social media or in large groups, there's something you'll be digging back through, going back over, releasing, letting go. Gemini. We've got the Sun, 5th house, and Gemini. Well, Gem, this is obviously good for you. The Sun is natural in the 5th house, and your Sun sign is Gemini. This fits in with those planets all moving forward, none of them retrograde and distorting the energy. And Gems, you've also been caught up with Mars retrograde, halting your plans, diverting your direction and distracting what was going on. It's forced you to have a rethink of who you are and what you're doing. But now, Feb, you're ready to really express yourself. The 5th house is the house of pleasure and fun, of romance. It's the house of your creative projects and your children. It's where your dreams start to manifest. February looks like it's a really fun social time for you. You're getting lots of chatty conversations. You're expressing your ideas clearly, and in some way that's helping you grow and actualise. You've found your groove in Feb, and where Mars has held you back for the last few months, you're getting a big burst of energy there, with Mars still in Gemini till mid-March. Set goals for February, Gemini. Your creative spirit and your charm is at its maximum. Cancer. We've got Aries, 6th house, and Jupiter. Cancer, Jupiter is in Aries right now. So it's pointing the finger at your place of health, daily routines, and your daily work. Jupiter in Aries is a bit of a problem for Cancer. It's got a tendency to block supply and limit your goals and even bring about a temporary setback. The full moon in that first week of Feb is bringing about a culmination in your house of resources. So some of this February story for you might be a limit about how you're getting work and how the work shifts are falling, and maybe having to reset your expectations around an opportunity. By the time Venus, Jupiter and Chiron all catch up together in Aries, peaking at the beginning of March, whatever this little hiccup is, whatever it is you've got to go back and represent, or whatever was blocked at the beginning of Feb, could really come through for you by the end of the month, early March. Jupiter in Aries is a master commander, and some of this will be around managing your daily work or building up your strength and your health, preparing for some test that's coming. The idea here, Cancer, is to focus on what you want and believe that you've got the strength and the guts to pull it off. What you need will be reflected in your daily work, the way you manage the detail. So if you're looking to break into an opportunity, that's where it'll be. Leo, the full moon is in your sign, so the beginning of Feb, it's all about you. Bringing out your relationships, seeing culminations, and tying things off in a satisfied and contented way. You've also got Jupiter and Scorpio in the 11th. With the full moon in your sign making everything more bubbly and social, February looks like a really busy month for you. Jupiter in the 11th expands your horizon. It expands your friendship groups and your community. It opens you to new ideas, new technology, new perspectives. But we've got Scorpio there putting a little bit of a sock in the mud for you. And that says instead of trying to get the broad reaching everything happening at once, you need to also focus on a deeper connection of acknowledging an emotional history and what really lies at the core. Some of you, this could spell out a real hiccup in your social group, maybe even jealousy and deception, or feeling really hurt, misunderstood. Jupiter in the 11th house is big, and what looks like a storm in a teacup might cut really deep. The full moon in your sign brings you into a place of reflecting on your relationships and your emotions, and things coming to a head. And that emotional side of things isn't really comfortable for a Leo. You'll have to watch what comes out through the cracks, watch what slips out through your mouth unconsciously, and be aware of how you're using your power. This combination has got quite a sexy vibe as well, and some of you might find there's an attraction going on within your group, or secrets suddenly exposed. If you're trying to hide something, Leo, you're going to have to work double hard over February. But if you're willing to go there and share vulnerability, February is going to be an amazing transformative month for you. Virgo. You've got Mercury and Cancer and the 11th house. Virgo, Mercury is your ruler. So February is pointing to an emphasis on Mercury's realm, which is communication, short distance travel, connections and links of all kinds, finding solutions. And for this month, you're called to find a solution and even some leadership around supporting a group or your friends or something in the community. This has a really nice aspect of service to it. Cancer is the sign that wants to lead through nurturing and nourishment and providing a safe space. And if you're looking at doing anything like that on a broader level, a community group or a community house, something like that, the links are there for you in Feb. It opens you to conversations who bring you into that nurturing space, where you feel accepted, where you feel loved, with your eye for detail and that sensitivity that Virgos have. You'll also be noting intuitively what's going on, reading the room. Some of you might be getting good news around fertility or a new creative project, and others might be traveling to a place that really nourishes your soul. I feel there's a lot of warmth and sharing and loving connection for you over February. The new moon around the 20th of Feb falls in your house of relationship, and this feels like there's new beginnings and strengthening of old ties. It's very loving. Libra. You've got Taurus, 4th house, and Neptune. This puts a bit of a mystery over your foundation and the sense of security. Something underfoot is not as stable as you thought. The 4th house is looking at what's going on at home, what's going underneath the floorboards. And Taurus and Neptune are quite uncomfortable with that. It's like mud. For some of you, this might be a change in your work from home routine, or having to change the space around to accommodate a more permanent place for something. There's also a bit of theme of laziness for you. A bit of daydreaming, a bit of drifting to shake up the routine and the drudgery. Some of you Librans might be bored and looking at what you sacrificed to have security, or where your base resources have eroded away a bit. But ultimately, there's a sacrifice you can make in Feb that brings that long-term security to you. This doesn't look like a warning of loss or anything terrible to me, but it looks to me, Libra, like you want to coast a bit. Put the work into your creative things, your spiritual needs. Spend time in the garden, literally digging up the earth. That doesn't sound too bad, does it? Scorpio. You have the moon and the 7th house and Libra. That's a nice mix for you, Scorpio. Libra rules the 7th house and the moon is very happy in Libra. It's warm and sensual, kind of charming and flirty. This puts the emphasis for you, Scorp, on your relationships. Who are you in that relationship? What have you let go of? Have you lost a bit of your identity? Or at this stage, is your partner needing more of you? For those looking for love, Scorpios, this is a really nice read. There's balance in your emotional connections. And for a Scorp, it's a bit lighter for you than your normal deep penetrating kind of intensity. For some Scorps, work might be getting in the way of you really enjoying your relationships, or your partner's work might be taking them away from things you need to do together. Earlier in the month, there could be health-related issues, or it could be that you meet someone through work who you form a deeper, more meaningful relationship with. February looks like a time where you can really enjoy yourself and the company you keep, where there's a softness and a sharing, and anything flirty can go sexy in a natural way. Those of you looking to balance out a relationship and separate yourself a little can find that there's a solution, an honest conversation that can happen, a genuine understanding of your position. Nice move, Scorp. Sagittarius. You have the first house, the Sun, and Cancer. The Sun in the first house puts you right in the centre of activity. And with Cancer there, it's about the emotional connections you make and how you lead and mentor and support others. You might find that you've been the shoulder to cry on, flavour of the month, for everyone to come and have a little sob with you. And you're good for it. There's some sense that you're giving back, that you're tapping into that nurturing Cancerian side of you that has a mothering instinct, even though it's kind of universal in some way. The Pisces new moon on the 20th falls in your house of home, so you might be finding that over Feb, because of what you've been giving out and how you've been supporting others, you are pulled more into an internal space. You might be supporting others by opening up your home to them, or the opposite, shutting people out of your home and so you can just reset yourself. You've got a lot of strength and a lot of confidence, and you're very charismatic at this time. Some Saggies will find it's a good time to invest or stock up your nest egg. There might be ways for you to gather better resources. The Venus-Jupiter Chiron conjunction that's happening at the end of the month and the beginning of March falls in a really lucky place for you, Sag. So whatever support and nourishment you've been giving out, you're going to get it back in spades. Capricorn. The 8th house, Pluto, and Virgo. Pluto's the ruler of the 8th house, so this is bringing about a significant transformation, a rebirth, a regeneration, but also a letting go. You're used to that, Capricorn. Pluto's been in your sign for years now, and in March next month, moving out of it into Aquarius. This is huge. So all Capricorns are going through this massive shift, preparing for that last bit of Pluto grinding up what you don't need and helping you let it go. Virgo here says it's now down to the detail, the final bit sifting through. Some Capricorns might find themselves coming into money, other people's money that you missed in the detail that's coming back now. And it feels like a reward for all the hard work you've done. This first week of Feb will bring up those culminations and bring up those endings. And it looks to me like you're ready to accept a significant change. If you've been having health problems, you might find that this is the end of it. If you've been struggling to get official paperwork and agreements made, the deadline is being reached. If you're looking to declutter and spring clean, February is the month you go all out. It's the time to clear the slate. Check all the details and check them off. And that this isn't happening just with the Astro Dice, this is happening in the global big astrology for you. And that's, like I said, because Pluto's leaving your sign. Make the most of this clearing out. Let go of what you need to. Don't hold on to power that doesn't serve you anymore. And if you are going through quite a big financial or legal or official deal at the moment, check all the details very, very carefully. The new moon around the 20th falls in your house of communication. So what's been stalled, especially with Mars retrograde, I expect it will all open up and you'll get a culmination. One way or the other, be able to find a solution and a workable plan with it. Aquarius. You've got Jupiter in Pisces in the 7th. Aquarius, that full moon at the first week of Feb, falls in your 7th house of relationships. And this is nice and super sexy, very romantic, soft and fluffy, in that realm of relationships. Jupiter loves to be in Pisces. It loves to expand in Pisces, dreamy, foggy, sweet, steamy blend. And if you're looking for a romantic relationship, there's a lot of dream possibility right here for you in Feb. The downside of Jupiter in Pisces is that it can overindulge. And you might be finding your relationship with something that's overindulgent is what you need to address in Feb. A lot of you are going to be having birthdays this month. And Mercury moves into your sign on the 12th. So that looks like a lot of connections, a lot of social activity, and a lot of overindulging as well. This expansive dream world builds up over the month, peaking in the beginning of March. And it softens you a bit, Aquarius. It opens you up to be able to stand in someone else's shoes. The new moon around the 20th falls in your house of resources. And one of your greatest resources is going to be the relationships you have and that kind of joyous charisma that you bring. If you find that in Feb the resources you need are to get the bills paid, then you might be leaning on others to help you do that. Or it might be that your partner is affecting your resources in some way, either expanding them or draining them. This is kind of speculative, a bit of a gamble. But this astro combination is very benevolent. So even if you land a windfall, I think you share it around rather than hoarding it yourself. And with Mercury moving into your sign, there's about 3 weeks to 4 weeks there where you're more likely to reach out and connect or expect messages and communication coming back to you. Pisces. Oh, you've got Pluto and the 6th house and Gemini. This puts a bit of a question mark and a bit of a dampener on your daily work and routine. Maybe a health issue comes up in Gemini that's potentially around breath and breathing, your voice, and the way you move, your arms and legs. Pluto is bringing a depth and an analysis, even a psychological twist to how you want to spend your day, how you want to share your time. And one thing is, it's preying on you that you want to have this deep conversation. You want to get to the bottom of something. This could be around agreements that were made or promises that were made in the past. It could be a family tradition or something with a sibling that needs to be sorted out. The new moon falls in your sign around the 20th, and that opens up a new regeneration, a new cycle. Venus is also in your sign, and that's a really lovely time of year for you, making you feel attractive, making you feel lucky, and giving you self-worth. So if there is a heavy conversation that needs to happen around your work, you have got that Venus aspect there, lightening things up and bringing things your way a bit. And I'd be looking at having any deep conversation before the 20th, before Venus leaves your sign. You've also got a really lucky day around Valentine's Day when Venus joins up with Neptune in Pisces. And some of you might see what you thought was a general sort of acquaintance have a deepening and intensity and even a passion come to that relationship. And that might come through connections with Gemini stuff, which is writing, speaking, texting, social apping. If you need to close something off, Pisces, with the new moon in your sign, it might be a real natural time to close things off so that you can start something new. But you will want that conversation to happen before the 20th for it to really go your way. Thanks for supporting my channel, and remember to like, follow, share and subscribe. I've got other videos on my channel about astrology, tarot, ritual, myths and legends, and all sorts of weird, kooky, esoteric stuff. And I'll be back next month with your monthly Astro Dice predictions. Thanks for watching.